delivered the lead paper at its inaugural international conference on security. The conference, which focuses on crucial theme of insecurity, reconstruction, resettlement, and rehabilitation in the Lake Chad Basin region, will provide a platform for in-depth discussions and analysis of the pressing issues surrounding insecurity and the vital process of reconstruction, resettlement, and rehabilitation. I am deeply grateful for this opportunity to contribute to such an important dialogue, and look forward to engaging with the distinguished attendees at this significant event. I am most delighted to inform you that I was a student at this esteemed university, specifically a member of this distinguished department, hailing from Borno State. I have actively contributed to our nation's security efforts as the Chief of Army Staff of the Nigerian Army and led crucial counterinsurgency operations in the Northeast under the leadership of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. You see this picture at the University of Maiduguri. I participated at the high jump and also the 400 meters and 4x400 meters inter-hall competition. So, you know, when I was here, I was very young and vibrant. That's high jump. Some may question the connection between history and security and wonder about this security-focused conference significance for the History and Strategic Studies Department. In my firm belief, history serves as the foundation for all disciplines, offering valuable lessons from the past to guide our present actions and safeguard our future. It is through the study of historical events that we can learn from past mistakes, understand complex issues, and effectively address current challenges. By taking a step back and examining problems through a historical lens, we can gain a deeper understanding and develop more effective strategies for workable solutions. In this context, I commend the University of Maiduguri's Department of History for approaching the issue of Boko Haram insurgency and other security threats in Borno State and the region of the Northeast with a historical perspective, recognizing the importance of contextual understanding and informed decision-making in tackling these pressing issues. Having voluntarily retired from the Army on the 26th of January 2021, after a dedicated service of over 40 years, of which I spent 66 months as the Chief of Army Staff, I had envisioned a peaceful life on my farm, dedicated to writing and meditation. However, fate had other plans for me as I was appointed as Nigeria's envoy to the Republic of Benin, thrusting me into the complex world of diplomacy and politics. Embracing this new chapter of my life, I have since become a proud member of the APC. Through these experiences beyond the military, I have gained invaluable insights and broadened my horizons, allowing me to address you not just as a seasoned military officer, but also as a diplomat and, of course, a politician. But we are not taking politics now. Security in the Lake Chad region and the Sahel is a critical issue that demands serious attention from Nigeria, considering the wide-ranging consequences of instability in these areas. The interconnected nature of security challenges in this region underscores the potential for unrest in one country to spread to neighboring nations, including Nigeria. For decades, Lake Chad Basin countries have grappled with various forms of insecurity, including banditry, abduction, highway robbery, and cattle rustling, among other challenges. In addition, the most significant security challenge confronting the Lake Chad Basin remains the Boko Haram crisis. Now it's called ISWAP. Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and of course our country have all been impacted by violent extremism that impedes state functionality and its capacity and willingness to provide human security. I want us to get one thing clear as we commence this lecture. Counterinsurgency operations are undoubtedly complex and challenging endeavors that require a high level of strategic planning, coordination, and commitment. It is essential to understand that tackling insurgencies around the world is a formidable task that demands unwavering determination and a comprehensive approach. While the road ahead may be arduous and fraught with obstacles, it is crucial to acknowledge that success is achievable with the right level of dedication and resolve. Counterinsurgency operations demand a long-term perspective, a deep understanding of the local context, and effective cooperation among various stakeholders. With a clear vision and the collective will to address the root causes of insurgency, it is indeed possible to counter such threats and restore stability and security in volatile regions. Long-lasting peace in post-insurgency Northeast Nigeria remains a complex and challenging endeavor with varying perspectives on whether it is a mirage or attainable goal. However, assessing the problems and prospects will lead us to finding lasting solutions to insecurity, peace, and of course, development in the region. The region has been plagued by years of conflict and violence, resulting in widespread devastation and human suffering that has left deep scars in the hearts of the affected communities. Rebuilding trust among communities, addressing the root causes of conflict, and fostering reconciliation are critical components in achieving lasting peace that can heal the wounds of the past. However, deep-seated grievances, political instability, and ongoing security threats pose significant obstacles to sustainable peace, casting a shadow of uncertainty over the region's future. Despite these daunting challenges, concerted efforts from both governmental and non-governmental stakeholders, along with international support and active community engagement, offer a glimmer of hope for a more peaceful and stable future in the region. The road to sustainable peace may be long and arduous, but with sustained commitment and collective action, the goal of peace in post-insurgency Northeast Nigeria and the Lake Chad Basin region countries is indeed within reach. Now let's look at the objectives. In this lecture, the primary objective is to assert that long-lasting peace is not a mirage, but rather a realistic goal that can be achieved through strategic and concerted efforts by focusing on ending the Boko Haram crisis through comprehensive and sustainable solutions. We aim to demonstrate that peace is within reach if the appropriate measures are implemented. Through constructive dialogue, conflict resolution mechanisms, and a commitment to justice and reconciliation, it is possible to pave the way for enduring peace and stability in the region. This lecture will highlight the importance of addressing the underlying issues that fuel conflict and emphasize the collective responsibility of all stakeholders to work towards a peaceful and prosperous future for all. The theoretical framework: the war against Islamic terrorism will be won when the ideology that supports it loses appeal, just as the Cold War came to an end. The idea that winning a war entails defeating an adversary on the battlefield and compelling it to accept political terms must be abandoned. This paper agrees with the stand of the NATO's Center of Excellence Defense Against Terrorism in its publication, Future Trends in Insurgency and Countering Strategies, that, and I quote, political solutions will remain the cornerstone of counterinsurgency and counterterrorism, supported by other civil and military lines of operation, where appropriate. The objective of groups that wage this form of warfare are political and ideological, and therefore any response or treatment of them must also be primarily political. All countering strategies must necessarily be politics-led. Every possible military action must be measured against likely political effect. The solution to the conflict and the insurgent strategy will lie in a political arrangement, be that accommodation, suppression, concession, or neutralization. Unquote. That analysis of the Boko Haram. To set the record straight, some scholars and researchers, like Professor Kari Mohammed, who is right here with us, of the Nigerian Army University Bureau, Dr. Blama Bukati, who specializes in extremist groups in sub-Saharan Africa, Andrew Walker, and Jacob Zane have done exhaustive studies of the group right from its early days. For example, Dr. Bukati traced the origin of the Boko Haram to one Muhammad Ali. Bukati made a persuasive case in riveting essay revisiting the beginnings of Boko Haram, published in January 2022. Now, look at causes and ideology. Despite the validity of the aforementioned points, Alex Thurston from the Brookings Institution presents an alternative perspective in his well-researched paper titled "The Disease is Unbelief: Boko Haram's Religious and Political Worldview." Thurston, in addition to the several conspiracy theories that seek to explain Boko Haram, four approaches are widespread but insufficient. The first theory is that the rise of Boko Haram in northern Nigeria is an unavoidable consequence of the region's widespread poverty. It is a fact that more than 60% of Nigerians exist on less than $1 per day, and that the region of Nigeria with a Muslim majority in the north lags behind the region of Nigeria with a Christian majority in the south in terms of the development of infrastructure and educational attainment. This is one of the comments I made yesterday. In short, it is wrong to think of Boko Haram as an economic protest with an Islamic face, an ethnic revolt, a puppet of foreign jihadists, or a revival of religious movement from the past. Instead, the analyst should look at how structural factors, politics, and ideas interact in northern Nigeria, as well as how this area is similar and different from larger global trends. Now, Boko Haram insurgency as political violence. All insurgency movements are rooted in political strategy, aiming to achieve various objectives through different means. Brad O'Neill's classification of 7 types of insurgency sheds light on the diverse agendas pursued by insurgents. And these are the anarchist movement, the egalitarian, the traditionalists, and so on. I think the papers will be made available later, but because of time, we'll just go through this briefly. However, Stephen Sloan argues that focusing on the 4 key features of insurgency, a political agenda, psychological operations, protraction, and the use of unconventional tactics and forces, provides a more comprehensive understanding of the nature and character of such insurgencies. The Boko Haram terrorists are convinced that their political end state, which seeks an Islamic state in Nigeria, is so morally imperative that they justify whatever means are necessary to achieve them. Boko Haram's motivation is also partly based on Islamic jihadism, as the extremist ideology espoused is itself a primary motivation factor. Emergence of a privileged social status and class conflict. This is what has been going on over the years and is still ongoing. Until these things are addressed, then some of these seemingly minor causes or factors can degenerate like it happened during Mohammed Yusuf's time. This social inequality has created fertile ground for radical ideologies to take root, with Boko Haram exploiting the existing tensions to recruit disillusioned individuals who feel alienated and marginalized by the ruling elite. Now, let's take some lessons. I am privileged to have traveled, very wide, including to Colombia, India, Bangladesh, and I have seen some cases of insurgency and interacted with their leaders. Let's see how this has affected, or such insurgencies affect those countries, and how do we address them, and what lesson do we get from them. Sri Lanka, for example, after a 26-year military campaign, 26 years, they've been battling insurgency. After a 26-year military campaign, the Sri Lankan military defeated the Tamil Tigers in May 2009, bringing the civil war to an end. Up to 70,000 had been killed by the year 2007. Immediately following the end of the war, on 20 May 2009, the UN estimated a total of 80,000 to 100,000 deaths. But you can see their population is much smaller than our own. Now, Colombia is another. Our peace is real and irreversible. Our only weapons are words. Colombian President Juan Samuel Santos proclaimed, quote and unquote. As rebels from the left-wing Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, FARC, handed over weapons to UN observers in a symbolic step marking the end of more than 50 years of bloody civil war. Bloody insurgents, 50 years. So we don't pray this should be our case. But we must commend the federal government, right from Buhari and right now, President Tinubu, for continuously supporting the military to see that they tackle these security challenges. And of course, the other security agencies, the police, DSS, and the rest. Sri Lankan and Colombian cases have made significant progress in combating insurgency within their borders through the implementation of effective strategies and tactics as Nigeria faces ongoing security challenges. There are valuable lessons to be drawn from the experiences of these countries. A holistic approach to counterinsurgency. One key takeaway from Sri Lanka and Colombia is the significance of adopting a comprehensive approach to counterinsurgency. It's not just a military action. It's not entirely a military responsibility. Everybody must be part of it. Everybody, right from the household. I tell you that in the course of our operation when I was in service, we had to arrest a whole family, father, mother, daughter, son. Some are in the Sambisa forest then. So you can see, it is something that must begin from the home. Effective intelligence is also very fundamental. Intelligence and coordination, a critical factor in the successful defeat of the insurgency in Sri Lanka and Colombia. Our intelligence, both military intelligence, the civil intelligence led by the JSS, are very crucial. And it must be continuous, and there must be coordination. Community engagement and reconciliation. Sri Lanka and Colombia also emphasize community engagement and reconciliation efforts as integral components of their counterinsurgency operation. everybody must be involved, as I said. Right from the ward head to the local government chairman and the rest. Now, the military's mandate and the results of military campaigns here. You are all witnesses to what transpired and is still ongoing. We continue to commend the military for all their efforts to ensure that peace has been restored in 99%, I believe, of this part of the Northeast, especially Borno. But what is remaining now are the lessons we are driving, the need to be consistent, the need to push more development in those areas. You know how we pushed initially before around July 2015, Mafa was no-go area. When you pass Mafa, that is the end. You can't go beyond that. Our border, Dikwa, was evacuated completely out to Marte, Gamborungala, Kalabalge in Ran. That is Ran, in Kalabalge local government area. Then you sweep to the left also, further north, the Lake Chad areas. When you go to parts of Monguno, Kukawa, Abadam, and part of Guzamala. Guzamala was also no-go area, you know, then Damasak. But by December 2015, all those areas, and later into 2016, all those areas were reclaimed and our troops moving, and some residents started going back. And today, the government efforts in ensuring that people are resettled is still ongoing. So the military operation is quite fundamental. It's a combination of the military intelligence, both civil, DSS, the police, and of course the local authority. So we give kudos to all of them. These are key developments that the military has played, and they will continue to play a very crucial role. But we believe it should be in a very short time. You know, it shouldn't prolong like those countries, Sri Lanka or Colombia. The success path so far in the Northeast, we have seen tremendous development going on, deliberate policy reconstruction going on, resettlements are still going on, rehabilitation of the belligerents, you know, the fighters, the terrorists are being rehabilitated, and so on and so forth. And these are some of the key points that we see in the Northeast taking place. Reconstruction and development efforts, visible progress in rebuilding infrastructure. We want to commend especially Borno State, that is the most affected. So much reconstruction. When I was coming last Friday along the road, I saw the number of houses that are being constructed, you know, for the people along the road from Damaturu to this place. Economic revitalization is also ongoing. Reintegration programs, you all know, the repentant Boko Haram and the case, including the safe corridor operation. So these things are continuous, and it must be deliberate in order to achieve the desired goal of lasting peace and development for this region. In conclusion, I want to most sincerely thank you for this time, and I want to once again thank the Vice Chancellor of University of Maiduguri, the Head of Department, History and Strategic Studies, University of Maiduguri, and indeed all of you. Valuable lessons have been learned in our case, the study, and our experiences. So if these problems, these lessons are implemented, I assure you we are going to have lasting peace. Borno will come back to its full status of center of peace, and of course, it's for the progress of the Northeast in general. Because if you look at most of the states of the Northeast rely on Borno, right from Adamawa, Gombe, Bauchi, and so on, Yobe, they rely on Borno, the economic center. The economic activities in Borno has been a center of attraction for all the states in the Northeast. And you remember, Borno was the headquarters of the Northeastern states during the military administration. Well, we have some few recommendations. In addition to what I have said earlier, the Nigerian police force is very crucial in this regard, and they need a comprehensive revamp and reorganization to enhance its effectiveness and proactiveness, because the basic security, internal security, is the role of the police. So it's very fundamental that the police, is properly positioned, equipped, trained, and motivated with good welfare projects. And then more policemen are required, because the present number of policemen we have, if you follow the UN standard of 400 policemen, 400 to one police, you remember that we are really very low in the police capacity in this country in terms of manpower. The same thing, we recommend increase in the strength of the armed forces. The challenges back in the 60s, 70s, 80s are not the same now. The demand for more aggressive action to secure our borders and to maintain our territorial integrity is very fundamental. And if you have a sizable military, it will help a lot as the situation is getting more critical. Now it's being contained, but we still have some pockets and a number of attacks here and there. But with more forces, more equipment, be rest assured there will be a lot of improvement in terms of the security within our country. So on this note, I want to most sincerely once again thank you. These are quite a number of recommendations, but for time, the papers will later be made available for you to go through. So thank you very much, the organizers of this conference, and we appreciate you. We look forward to more interaction as we progress in our endeavor to get Borno, the Northeast, and our country back on track. Thank you for your attention. And of course, as an academic paper, you must have references, and these are my few references that will be able in the course of research.